everyone, to a very special Zoom and Learn. So today we have Catherine here with us with Power Access. They are a door opener company. Now, here's the cool thing about Power Access, and Kat's going to tell you too, but they aren't just for commercial doors, like when you see the handicap push buttons. We had 25 people registered for today. So Kat actually is going to, I love this. She's actually going to sit, she's going to have a conversation with us, tell us about the company and the American Disabilities Act. And she's even going to demonstrate how it works and the different types of accessories that can come with the door. And I do want to point out at the bottom too, that if this is something you would be interested in doing for your own home, if you call, they do offer a senior special that they advertise in the magazine too. So I am going to spotlight Kat. Kat, you are going to have to unmute yourself, and the floor is yours.
Thank you for making sure I unmuted myself, because I definitely would have been just chatting to no one. Well, thank you guys. I don't really do a whole lot of Zoom meetings, just talking to myself or to a screen. So, you know, bear with me as we go through this. But as Zoe said, I'm Catherine. My dad and I own this company. It's a family-run business. That's really important to us. A couple of the things, the reasons Power Access came about, actually, we came about back in the 70s, before the ADA, before any of the Americans with Disabilities Act came out, because the original owner, who it's only been two owners, one owner previous, and again, it was a father-son, and now it's my dad and I. So we're the second owners of the company in 50 years. We've kept it a small, you know, homey company. When you call in, you get a hold of me or Dan, and that's my dad's name. We pretty much do everything under the sun for the company. If you call in, you talk to us, I do sales, I do customer service, I handle all of our vendor and supplier relationships. I get up to my shop and do inventory once a quarter, although this year I haven't been able to go with COVID and everything, clearly. So it's been a little bit challenging this year, but we're still around and we're doing really well on the residential side, which is kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. The residential door openers came about after the commercial openers. Now, the reason that my dad and I actually got into this business is my granddad, who's passed away now. It's been about 4 years, but he was the one that found this company for us, and he lived in an assisted living. He actually was in the independent living section of the home for a long time, and then moved into assisted living once his dementia kind of started to accelerate. But what we saw was that the people at the home really needed help getting in and out of their doors. And what we found is that at a lot of these places, these doors are so heavy. It's like if you go to Starbucks or something, anywhere else, you're going somewhere, you go through a door, you know, you feel that back pressure. You see there's a little, it's called a hydraulic closer. It's a closer. So it automatically closes the door behind you, which is normal and standard in businesses. Now, what they've done, though, is they've brought that into these assisted living and independent living homes where people really need help opening that door, and these doors open in. So if you're thinking about it, you're opening your door into your home. If you're using, like, for example, my granddad used a rollator and a walker for a long time. He had so much trouble trying to back up with that it became a safety hazard, and that made our entire family nervous. And he fell a couple of times, and obviously that means, you know, there's just so much potential for other things once you get there. And so we were constantly worried about him. And then we found this company. He found this company and was like, "This is a great idea. We should do this." And in my opinion, my humble opinion, I think that instead of having closers on all of those doors, they should have openers and closers on those doors, because that to me makes sense. But I guess we just haven't gone there yet. So coming back around with the ADA and kind of full circle there, the ADA is for public spaces. So that is the Americans with Disabilities Act, came about in the 70s. Obviously, people that are needing access, they have mobility challenges, whether they're, you know, whether they are using these mobility devices and or they're just incapable of handling or taking care of themselves. going through these situations, you know, they have a helper, or they have their mom or their dad helping them. In the case of a child, maybe using a power chair or something like that. So, you know, being able to access public spaces was a huge deal. That's a big deal. That's why we have these accessibility features everywhere now. We have these automatic door openers at the mall, as you would see. We have these automatic door openers on a lot of public businesses. When it comes to a private business, like government buildings, of course, you're going to see them there. When it comes to private businesses, that's where we kind of work to allow people to come and go into those private businesses that really need it. And honestly, a lot of times it's up to the person that's going. So it's like for me, for example, or you, for example, if you say that you need a need, you need to bring that up to them. And a lot of people don't know this, because you can bring it up to them and it's your right to have an automatic door or an accessibility feature at that store. But if you don't bring it up to them, they don't necessarily have to do it from a private standpoint. So it's kind of like, you're your own advocate, right? And this goes for anything. This goes from a commercial setting to if you're going into the nail salon and you have trouble getting into that door. I mean, just think about it. It's one more thing you don't have to worry about going in and out. And it's a safety hazard, and all of these other things. And really, it's not a complicated thing to do. Our commercial openers are $1,500. You know, you can get that installed, and that lasts for decades. So from a commercial standpoint, that's kind of, you know, a different beast. But what I mean by that is, hopefully this is helpful, is that if you need something or you have a need, you can bring that up to the person who owns that business. It is not something that you should keep in. You definitely bring it up, because the more people that bring it up, the more possibility there is to bring something in there for future, for you, for somebody else who might need that help. So that's one thing that I think is important to know in general. But then when we're coming back to the residential door opener, this is what I really want to focus on with you guys, because this, I think, is where the future of our company lies. This is where my heart has been with Zoe. I've been really trying to work with them and with you guys on really getting into the community, because there's only my dad and I. We don't have a lot of money to do marketing and things like that. So this is really helpful for us to get at least our name out there. And if you need or have a need for something like this, or you know somebody that does, please share this with them, because it's not about selling for us. It's about safety, and it's about making sure that as people are aging, and if you're choosing to age in place, or you're choosing to go into an assisted living home, an independent living home, even a memory care unit, anything like that, if you have family that needs to do that, this is just one less thing that you need to worry about with them. And again, if you bring this up to the people who are in charge, they have to look at it as a viable solution. And our solutions are all ADA compliant, so that's always a question. Fire rated and all of that stuff. So it shouldn't be an issue within the home, if that's a question. And then obviously, if you own your own home, you know, you can pretty much do what you want. So I know I'm kind of talking a lot about, you know, the different kind of options and a little bit out there, but at the same time, what I'm trying to get across is that this is up to you. It's up to you. And you take it into your own hands whenever you want to, or if you need to, or even for your family members. Like I said, with my granddad, you know, it made a huge difference with him. He stopped hanging out with people at his place, you know, and he became really isolated. He became a little bit depressed, and that just happens a lot. And it's really sad for, you know, family members to see that, because the reason is because he doesn't feel safe leaving his house. So anyway, we've helped with a lot of that. That's why my dad and I got into the business, because we saw my granddad really struggling, and the people that he cared about too. And we were able to work with them and find a solution for him. And then we decided to just become a part of the business, because we thought that it was a very awesome, viable solution for people that you really just don't see often, especially from the residential standpoint, like Phil mentioned before. So that said, a couple of the ways that you can use this. Now, I have this like door opener, and I'm sorry, I'm working, kind of trying to work with my, sorry, I fell on my face. Okay.
I was gonna say, at least it was just your phone and not you, so we're good.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, bye. So I'm trying to figure this out here. I have this kind of like a half door situation, but this is our opener. This is the residential model. It's low profile, as you can see. It sits right on the front of the door. And this works on entry doors and or exterior exit doors. So most of the time, home doors enter, they go into the house. So you're pulling it open when you're inside your home, or you're pushing it open when you're outside, right? So this is kind of the setup for that type situation. And what I'm going to show you is just how easy it is to actually work. Now, I installed this before we got on the phone, obviously. It's really easy to install. Anybody can do it. I'll kind of go back to this at the end of the conversation, but one of the things to note is that there are different options and adjustments on these. So you can make it yours, basically. And I'll show you kind of all of those once I just show you the basic behind it. Now, if you can see, and I'm going to pull my phone, this is why I have my phone, so I can kind of zoom in here. If you can see here, this is an electric strike. The electric strike basically takes the place of the actual latch and lock where the door is. So this door is locked right now, but if I unlock it and open it, you'll see that there's this tongue, right? The tongue that hangs in the door. So in order for this door opener to work, this tongue can't be in the door. Otherwise, it'll just, be in the frame. So what the strike does is basically acts as a door to allow this to push back and the door to open. So the strike pushes in, engages, and then it's flush with the door, so the door can actually open and close. Now, when the door closes, it relatches this and actually locks the door behind you. So you don't have to worry about locking that door. It does all of that for you. So right now, if I went on the other side, this door is locked, right? And it's locked from the inside. But if I used, for example, I'm using a little pendant style, and this is our pendant style remote that you can use, and you just push it, that activated and unlocks the door. So the door's opening, it's going to open fully to 90, and I have it set on a short cycle, so it's going to close right away. But when it closes, you'll see that it latches and locks in place. And the door is locked. So if you're going in and out of your home, this is a lot easier than you having to go up to the door, unlock the door, click the button, have it do the full cycle, then turn around and actually have to go back. So this is something that I think is a really awesome feature for the door. And then in addition to that, you can actually do a bunch of different adjustments from that. So you don't need this locking mechanism if you didn't have this. Like, let's say, for example, you're going to have this on any kind of secure door. So if it's your front door, a garage entry door, a back door, anything like that, you're going to want to have that strike on it, just because that's the best way to use this door opener. Now, if you had an interior door, let's say I have multiple people who have these all throughout their home. So they have them on their garage door, their entry door. They also have them on their bedroom door and their bathroom door. Your bedroom door and bathroom door don't necessarily need to be locked, right? So instead of using that electric strike, you just use what's called a blank latch plate. So this is actually put in place of this strike in the door, so that the tongue of the door doesn't actually like stick into the door frame. If you can kind of see, it's like this. So instead of it sticking in, it's flush. So that helps. So that's less cost. Obviously, you don't need an extra accessory if you're going to be not locking that door. So that's another little feature that we have, and that comes with each one of the door openers. And then let's see, a couple things. There was a question. Zoe, do you want me to do questions as they come in, or do you want me to do them at the end?
Well, normally I'll ask them, but I'll wait until you pause and I'll let you know what they are. That way you don't have to keep watching and reading. But if you want me to go through some of the questions we have right now.
Okay.
So can it be installed on French doors? So French doors.
Yes. Yes. So with French doors, usually what we recommend doing with French doors is having one of the doors, like the stationary door. So if it's a left and a right situation, then the right would be stationary, and you would be able to open the left one. We have a specific strike for French doors because they're lower profile in terms of the actual frame of the door. So we use a specific strike with French doors as well. You technically could automate both French doors. It's a little bit more complicated, but we have had people do that as well. So if you wanted to automate both of them, we could do that and do like a syncing of the two doors.
Wow. Okay. All right. So now this is an interesting question, and I blame the fact that we're always constantly using technology now. But are they hackable?
Okay, it's a good question. So the way that these openers work is through a set of what's called dip switches. So it's very similar to like your garage door opener. If you know, you have a remote, just like this remote. So in the inside of this remote, and you open this with like a coin or something, which I have back here, but I'm holding my phone, so I don't know if that would be good for me to do. Here, hold on a second.
You're programming a ceiling fan, essentially. You have to make sure that all the correct switches are switched in both places.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
And so basically, when you open up one of these babies, okay, so I opened it up. I'll show you. There's on the inside, there's a set of, they're very, very small.
Tiny.
There's a set of
Yep.
little switches here. And this is a really small remote. This is the smallest remote we have. So obviously those are going to be teeny tiny on the inside there. But yeah, so those switches actually match a set of switches that's on the inside of the opener. It's called the radio receiver board. Basically, that's a fancy word for it's wireless. So it's all connected wirelessly. All of our 2300 units have a wireless functionality, and they work off of those set of switches. So when we send the units out, they're actually in what's called factory setting, which is just up, down times 10, right? But what we say is change those settings so that you have a specific unique code and it's operating on its own frequency. So it's not only a code, it's a frequency and a code in addition to that. So it's like a double, a kind of like a double whammy in terms of the security feature. So it's very, 10 times 10, I mean, there's millions of combinations that we could come up with that. So that's why we recommend switching it to one that is unique to your home. And then each door will have to be unique to itself too, because let's say you have 4 door openers, you don't want to push a button and all 4 of them open at the same time. So you're going to have to set each one to open, with a unique code. And so that's kind of how we go through the hacking thing. One of the ways. And then the other way, we do have the ability to actually use an app now, which is a new feature. And that's something that's been really popular this year, especially because of COVID and not wanting to carry things or touch things all the time. Having your app on your phone, if you're a tech savvy person, is really, is something that would be really helpful. And you can add up to however many doors. So like I just set somebody up in Louisiana. She bought 6 door openers, and she got the app feature. So she just had to set them up, and now she opens her phone and says door 1, front door open, or bathroom door open. So it's really easy for her to do. That's what I would suggest doing, because that's also based on Bluetooth. But obviously Bluetooth sometimes has connectivity issues. So I would always recommend having a backup if you do that. A remote or something like that.
Okay.
So does that
Jean
answer?
Twine,
Does that kind of answer the question?
Yeah, I believe it does. So Jean Twine asked about how easily could it be removed, like if you had it installed in an apartment?
So they're really easy to remove, basically, and I could show you. Let me show you. So the way that these work is off of your standard electricity. So it plugs, like it comes right out of here, out of the side, and goes down. You plug it into your standard wall outlet. So it runs off of electricity. So you unplug that, and then really all you need to do is there are 2 set screws on each side of the opener, one here and one here. That allows the top to come off. And then it's held on by 4 screws down there, and then 2 screws up here. So really it's a total of 8 screws that you would need to unscrew. And then you just take the unit off the door that way, and you can move it. The other thing that's cool about these units is if you, let's say you moved, like this door opens to the right, in and to the right. If you moved and your door opened in and to the left, then you could actually change this in the field to be adjusted to open to the left instead of to the right, without having to get any additional accessories or anything else from us. The cool thing about these units too is that they last for, I have people calling me, and we didn't start selling this residential unit until the 90s, but I have people calling me on this, and they've had it since I look it up in my system. It's not even in my system. It's that old because we didn't have QuickBooks before 2010. So it's, older than my system is, and it's still working fine. One of the cool things about these units, and if I opened it up, which I'll try and do at the same time that I'm still talking. Sorry, that's my furry assistant. I thought she would be quiet, but she's not.
No, we like furry assistants. It's okay.
I wish I could tell her to undo these set screws. That'd be helpful. But yeah, so one of the cool things about these units too is that really there are only four or so components. So when you're thinking about moving the unit, it's not, if you go online and you see these other options, I'm just going to be honest, these options from China and stuff, they may be less expensive, but I guarantee you're not going to get me on the phone to help you out, or anybody else that speaks English. One, if you can get somebody on the phone, which you probably can't, I've tried. Two, if you open those things, there's so many different components in there that even one thing can go wrong, and then that will mess the entire thing up. You'd have to replace the whole thing, not just a piece of it. Now, one of the things that we as a company really believe in is longevity and durability of the products. That's why everything that we do is made here, built in the USA. My shop manager, Mike, is up in Connecticut. He builds everything to order. And him and I talk on a daily basis, at least 3 times, just to make sure that quality control is there. But basically, when you look at the unit itself, there's only 4 components. So I'm gonna actually try and do this with my camera. Let me see if I can turn it around so I can talk to you guys. Here we go. Okay. So when you open it up, again, I opened it up. There's just the 2 set screws on the side, right? And you just pull the unit off the top. So this is the motor. This is the slip friction clutch arm. And then you have your main PC board here. And then the radio receiver board, like I was saying before, you see the set of switches there. Mm-hmm. Those are the set of switches that communicate wirelessly with whatever you're using, like this pendant device. So really, those are the 4 components. These 2 components are the most expensive. These are actually warranted for 10 years now. And we do that because we wanted to differentiate ourselves from those pieces from China. One of the reasons we wanted to differentiate ourselves. The other thing is, because we only have these 4 components, if something goes wrong, we know exactly what it is. Let's say your door's only opening 2 or 3 inches every single time. That's a new PC board. Let's say that your remote's no longer working. It's either a new battery in the remote or it's a new wireless radio receiver board. It's very easy to troubleshoot these things over the phone. So with the lifetime of the opener, you basically get free servicing and free customer service, free troubleshooting, free 24/7 tech support. We're available on the phone. Like I said, you get a hold of us. You don't get a hold of a system where you're lost for 30 minutes and you don't know what's happening. Things like that. So the way that our customer service is, I think, is above and beyond anything that you would be able to find somewhere else. The beauty about also being here in Dallas, and why one of the reasons I wanted to really partner with Celebration and work with Zoe and everybody who's here locally, is because I live here, and I'm available to come and help out. We have my installer here, I have a few installers here. They're able to come and do any kind of troubleshooting if that's needed. Again, we can do 99% of troubleshooting we do over the phone, again, for free. And that's through the lifetime of the opener. So if you're looking at the cost of these, what I like to say is it's an investment. It's an investment in you. If you're willing to make an investment in yourself for something like that, that makes your life a little easier, then that's something that's amazing. You can do that. If you think about it over time, these things last for 10 plus years. If you don't need it for 10 years, you can gift it to somebody else. It'll still be used. Like we said before, you can move it from one place to another fairly easily. And yeah, it works. And we've had this year with COVID and all of the other things happening, we've seen a big hit in our commercial business. And so we've had to make up with it with the residential sales, which thankfully we've been working on for the last, I've been on board for 3 years now. So I kind of took everything over. I was brought on board 3 years ago. And so I've started to kind of try and move more towards this residential stuff, because I really do think, and I'm just talking to you guys as me right now. I'm not a salesperson. I'm not trying to sell or anything, but for me, this has made a huge impact on so many people's lives. And like, I have people that just, I mean, it makes me tear up, because they start tearing up on the phone, and they're like, I had a mom call me, and her daughter has been in a wheelchair and, you know, has muscular dystrophy, and she didn't know that this existed. And she's like, this is just going to make her life so much easier. She can be independent. She can come and go as she pleases. She wants to be. She's 15 years old. She's in a wheelchair, but she wants to be a teenager. And this allows her to come and go from her. She did it on her front door and her garage door. So her daughter can come and go as she pleases. She used to have to open the door for her every time. It just has made such a big impact. And she cried on the phone with me, and I got a little teary-eyed with her. And I've talked to just so many people, and it's a huge thing for me and for us. And we have tried this year to do anything and everything we can to help people, because we understand the situation. You know, we ourselves are in the same situation as everybody else is. We're a small company. We were able to secure some of the small business funding, so we're still around, thankfully. But yeah, we've done really well this year with the residential stuff. And most recently, I've had somebody out of Connecticut, actually. He's in a independent living facility, and he was able to, I think there are 45 or 46 different rooms there. And we were able to work with the facility to get that installed. He went through one of our dealer partners. So that's another thing. If you don't have an installer, we do have dealer partners that are throughout. And like I said, especially here in the Dallas area, I've worked with one of our guys, and we've come up with a full service solution for anybody here in this area that includes everything from coming in and looking at the door, making sure everything is prepped there, all of the equipment, list everything, all the accessories, the installation, the after customer service, tech support, all of that stuff. We've come up with a solution, a one-stop shop solution for you guys. So instead of having to go and find your own installer or reach out to them, instead of, you know, reaching out directly to me, you can do all of that through us now or through the installer. So you don't have to have multiple people you're talking to, which I found is really helpful. And let's see, are there any other questions though? Did some other ones come in that I can chat about?
So I did see someone ask about what if the door is metal or fiberglass? Does that make a difference? And I guess my follow-up question to that would be is, I know I've been in some senior livings where their doors are metal. So if, say it's an independent community, somebody installs and then they remove it, is there a way to repair the door, or what needs to happen in order for them to not, leave a door with holes?
Yeah. So 2 things. To answer the first question, these work on metal or wood frame doors. With each one, we send all of the different components, like binding bolts that you would use for a metal door versus the screws that you would use for a wood door. We send all of the hardware that you'll need for either one with every single unit. To answer that question. To answer the other question, the different independent living homes in different places have different ideas of what they're looking at, right? So it just depends on your situation and your circumstance. Some of these homes have, and I'll be honest with you, there are fire ratings and safety guys that go around and do this stuff. A lot of times they have totally different ideas of what that is. It's like an engineer that's putting together a floodplain map. One engineer will put together a floodplain map. It's totally different than another one. Doesn't mean they're wrong. It's just a different way of doing it. It's kind of the same way with this. So some homes will want you to put the commercial unit on instead of the residential unit. And the reason is because the arm isn't attached to the door. So on the commercial unit, this arm here is attached to the door. The commercial unit has a wheel on it, so it rolls along the surface to actually push the door open. So it's not attached here. It's attached via a slide mounting bracket, which basically is just like an L-shaped bracket, and you slide the unit onto that. And so that allows the door to not have any kind of holes in it. The only thing that's adjusted is the jamb. Some places require that unit because of the situation, just what it is, or fire rating or something. You know, some places have not allowed us to put the units in because the holes are in the door and then it's not fire rated or something like that. And you're like, well, if you put spacers in those holes, then it should be fine. But like I said, it's just a unique circumstance. I know this doesn't necessarily answer that question because there really isn't an answer that's 100% accurate. It just depends on your circumstances. It depends on the, you know, how it's run and what the local fire rating inspector is saying. So I work with all of them though. When we do work in homes, a lot of times these are big questions. And so I work directly with the customer, the client, and whoever is in charge of the home, even if it's like the maintenance person who's actually doing the installation, anything like that. I'm happy to talk to them and talk to them about the fire rating and talk to them about the different options. That's something that you can put on us. Don't put that on yourself. That's something that we would be able to help you with and put together a good plan for you based on what your community is requiring.
Perfect. All right. I don't see any other questions that have come in right now. I have to be honest, I'm really surprised about the size. It's very small.
Yeah, it looks big on this. It kind of looks big on this just because, but like I said, this is not even a third of a door. So,
yeah.
You know, I mean, I can carry this thing around with me. It's awkward, but I can carry it around with me. So the only thing is this sticks out, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, the reason that sticks out obviously is so that the door can open fully and then close again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the unit itself is pretty small, and it doesn't, I mean, I installed this, so I by no means am a handyman or a contractor. I don't have, I'm not a manufacturing background or a mechanical background, anything like that. But I did ask for a Home Depot gift card one Christmas because I really wanted a drill, a power drill. But that doesn't mean that I'm a contractor. So I was able to install this, and I didn't read through the instructions beforehand. When I first was brought on board, I just took the instructions. I was up in the shop and I was like it was like midnight, and I just worked until I was done, and I had installed it in 2 hours. It was working perfectly and was on the door. Everything was working. 2 hours. So it really doesn't take that long if you know your way around tools. And the hardest part is the electric strike, because sometimes you need to change the jam out a little bit, but if somebody has experience with doing installations, that's not a problem at all. Any contractor, any handyman can do that. Even electricians, and sometimes we don't like electricians to touch our things because they try and mess with other things and they really don't need to. They make it more complicated than it is. But we're always here for any questions or anything like that. So yeah, I think I wanted to just touch on maybe a couple other things in terms of the accessories and options we have. So everybody's different. Every situation is different. People use our door openers for different things. So we do have, I showed you guys the little pendant. This is the smallest pendant we have. It can go on a keychain or like a necklace or something if you're carrying something around your keys. Really easy. Each one of these also comes with a little double-sided Velcro. So you can, a lot of people, if they're in a power chair or using like a rollator or a walker, they like to put this on the side so it's easily accessible, always there. Even on the wall, you can put it on the wall by the door. We have these keypads, which are helpful if you have people that are coming into your home. You can take that top off if you want to, but basically it's a 4-digit code entry, just like a standard garage door or something like that. Everything again is wireless, so you don't have to worry about wiring things, which is great because it just makes your life so much easier.
Well, and that's great for senior living, especially if you're in a retirement community. You can leave a code with the front desk in case there's ever an
Mhm.
emergency that they need to get into your
Yep,
apartment. Then they're not busting down
exactly.
your door. Yeah.
Exactly. And good point though. And based on that point, the next question is, can you still open the door? Can you still get in and out of the door? The answer is yes. You can still use the exact same lock and key that you used before because this works with your standard lock set. This just takes this place. You don't have to change the actual handing of the door. So if I was like on the other side of this, if I went over here, I would use my lock and key to get in, and I could still do that manually. So like, I'm opening the door manually right now. Now, obviously there's things in the way, so I'm opening it manually and it kind of just glides. So you can still open and close the door manually and it locks and everything. That's always a question that comes up. So thank you though for reminding me of that. Yeah, if people need to get in and out, they can always come using the lock and key. And so that's often a question about independent living homes. But yeah, you can definitely use a lock and key. You can use keypad. We have that app option I showed you. Well, I didn't show you, but the app option is easy. It just plugs into your board. I'm not going to show you guys because it gets a little more complicated and you don't need to know that. But that's easy. We also have, a ton of different kinds of push plates. This one is one that we kind of created ourselves, but it goes on the wall and you just push it and it'll activate the door. There's other ones too. And this is a blank plate because it's more like a residential. Some of them come with the push to open and the handicap symbol. But if you wanted just a blank one because it's your residence and you didn't want a handicap symbol, we definitely have that option too. So yeah, we have those options. We also have things from like pressure mats, and these get into really special, like specific circumstances. Pressure mats, if somebody has like a ramp leading up to their door, a pressure mat is a great option because you just put it on the ramp and they roll over it and activates the door. Easy. Other people don't like the pressure mats because it activates with 5 pounds of pressure, and maybe they have a dog at home. They don't want their dog to go out the door. So it's just kind of different circumstances. But when you talk to me or you talk to Dan, we definitely talk you through all of the circumstances, all of the accessory options. I have plenty of marketing materials and sheets and things like that that we send over, and you can see all the different pictures, things like that, the pricing. But yeah, basically it's an a la carte solution. It's the opener, and then you just add whatever else you need to it, which generally would be the strike if it's secured access, and whatever accessories you need. No more complicated than that. And there's 4 different configurations, super easy. The only reason there's 4 is because the doors open in, they open out, they open left, and they open right. So those are your 4 configurations. We build them to your specific door. And like I mentioned before, you can always change that in the field if that's needed. If you move somewhere else or you decide to change the door out or whatever that happens to be. Let's see, warranty. I mentioned the warranty on the 2 units, the motor and the slip friction clutch arm, which are the most expensive parts and important parts. They make the unit run. Those 2 are warranted for 10 whole years. The PC, everything else is covered under 1-year warranty, including all of the accessories, options, labor, everything. So if anything goes out, we are really good about our warranty, things like that. And you know, one of the really beautiful things too about being able to get me on the phone is sometimes, and I'm pretty much in a good mood most of the time, but if you're nice to me, you can work your own little deals out too. So I think that's kind of one of the things about being able to actually get a hold of me too. You know, if we have deals all the time, like we have our senior special deal, there's an additional 10% off if you order by the end of this month. So additional 10% off of already discounted pricing. So, you know, that's been helpful for people this year. And then we also have new payment options that not just credit card. I mean, it's credit card, but you could pay over time. So we do have a couple other things that we've been trying to work with people this year, just because it's been a little bit challenging. And a lot of people are on fixed incomes that we're working with. And so obviously we know that. And like I said before, our main thing is safety and making sure people are happy and safe in their homes. And if we need to work with you, we will work with you. So just know that. And yeah, I think I've talked about pretty much everything I could talk about. I obviously I could keep talking all day, but I had a couple like little videos. I just wanted to show like 2 videos of customers and just read a little customer testimonial from recently. And there's 2 different ways of using the door. This is why I wanted to kind of highlight these 2 things. So I am going to turn this around and show you my computer so that I can actually highlight this stuff. And I apologize, this lamp is like, whew. There we go. Okay, let's see if we can see this. Okay, so one option here, as you'll see, he's using the button and he's in a power chair. So he's using this on his front door. He's got one of our big garage buttons. It's actually an older model, but he's got that. He pushes it on his power chair and he's got it with that Velcro that I showed you. His door opens up for him. He rolls through it. Doesn't have to worry about turning around in that chair or anything like that. The door will close behind him and it will lock. Now he's turning around because he's coming back inside. To show you kind of how it works both ways. So he's turned around and now he's pushed the button again to come back inside. And you can actually adjust the amount of time that door stays open. If you noticed when I did mine, it closed right away because I had it set to the timer low, but you can actually adjust it up to 30 seconds. So that door would stay open up to 30 seconds to allow somebody to come in and out. Another thing you could do, if that is, if you wanted to do like a push to open, push to close, you could also change the unit out to do a push to open and it won't close until it receives another signal. So you'd have to push to close it. Somebody recently did that. You know, it's simple toggle switch on the board, easy peasy, done. So that kind of shows you one example of somebody who's using that door because he has a power chair. Here's another, let me see, where'd my video go? This was somebody that I worked with out of Ocean City, Maryland, and he actually wanted to just be able to come and go because he's cooking outside a lot and he has these 2 doors on this staircase. So both of these doors have our units on them. So they open at the same time and he's doing a push to open, push to close to allow him to have as much time to get through these 2 units, 2 doors. And you'll see he comes up and he's going to push this blank push plate to close them. And he just hits it with his elbow and then they close. So that's another way of using it. You know, it's not just because you're in your mobility challenge. You could also use it just because it's a lot easier and it makes your life easier, right? So that's another example of kind of how somebody has used our opener. And let's see, the last one, this is somebody who had helped his friend actually install it. So he's leaving after he installed it. Now there are wires everywhere. I wouldn't necessarily recommend leaving it like this, but it's opening and he's like, "You're welcome, did it for you." Okay, no problem. So I wanted to show you this because he's a friend from down the hall and he was having an issue with his opener and he called us and he just had to make one adjustment to make this work. So his friend came over, made it work. Everything was pretty beautiful, working again, and he's happy. So he just wanted to show me that, you know, everything worked out fine. And again, like I said, that's over the phone, troubleshooting and all of that stuff. So you really don't have to worry about, you know, anything like that. And obviously we're available, you know, we're available whenever, if you have any issues or anything like that. I mean, obviously call us and you can always get a hold of us. Text is good if you have like an urgent issue over the weekend or something like that you need help with. We're always here and we're always available. I think the last thing, I'm just going to read 2 people's reviews. And these I got recently. One is actually from the guy who was using the door to open. He was holding everything coming up both the stairs. This is his review. He said, "Catherine and Dan," because he worked with both of us, "I want to send a special thanks for all of your determination and endless patience with me to ensure that our power access openers will be wired properly." So he wired them in too. "When Jerry from the corporate office called my electrician, install was completed within the next 30 minutes. That is superior customer service. Rarely have I experienced such dedication after the sale. Your support was exceptional. We use the openers to enjoy a better quality of life at our beach home in Ocean City, New Jersey. We have used these doors in the past 2 weekends and they're working flawlessly, and we're looking forward to years of enjoyment. I made the right choice when I chose Power Access. So we worked with him. He wanted to wire, he bought wireless first and then he wanted to wire. So we worked with him throughout the process, and that I think goes to show just not just the sale, but our customer service afterwards. And I wanted to highlight that just because that is something that's important to us. And then lastly, this is from one of my, actually, he had it installed maybe 2 weeks ago. He's the guy that I was telling you there's about 45 or 46 in the complex, and he's in an independent living home. And we worked with them and with our dealer to make sure that he had the appropriate solution for him. And then more people from that, hopefully when they see his, more people are going to come and be interested in adding it to their doors too, which is what his hope was as well, being the first person. So he had called in originally to me, and I spoke with him. I referred him to one of our dealers out of Connecticut, and he sent me a note last week and said, Catherine, I'd like to thank you for putting me in touch with Oakley, which is our dealer. You'll recall getting me pricing for an automatic door opener for my apartment in Stone Ridge, a retirement community in Mystic, Connecticut. You gave me the names of 3 qualified installers. Oakley responded almost immediately. One of their principals, Mike, came to our site, gave me a quote, and sent a professional installation crew to do the job. Many thanks from a satisfied customer. So that was literally from last week. And again, you know, it's not just about us. It's really about our customers, and that this is the kind of stuff that I love getting. So you know, when people actually share with me, a lot of times, because we do go through a lot of our dealers, we'll do the installations for commercial. I don't really hear anything back. And I'm like, well, I hope everything worked out, but residential is like near and dear to my heart. And so I love helping individuals out and hearing their stories and their testimonials and how we've been able to help them. It just keeps me pushing day and day, pushing this little small company forward and trying to do the good that I know that we can do out in the community. So, so yeah, that's my little spiel. Thank you for watching and listening.
Well, it's a great spiel. Everybody feel free to unmute yourselves. I mean, that was great, valuable information that Kat provided. I got to tell you, I learned even more. I mean, I knew a lot already, but I learned even more again. So I did have someone ask for your name and phone number. So her name is Catherine. I put the phone number in the chat. It's also on my screen, the 800-344-0088. And like she said, they are local, which is really nice. And they will definitely help you out. I'm building a house right now, Kat. You have me going, maybe.
Yeah. It's not just for people with mobility issues. I'm telling you, if my boyfriend let me put it downstairs, I would.
I keep thinking, you know, at the garage door between the garage and the house would not be a bad idea, because that's where I come in and out the most. So,
yep.
Yeah.
That's pretty much, I would say the second after the front door, that's the second most popular.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in power chairs or something.
Yeah. Struggle in the door. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us. Catherine, thank you so much for presenting this information to us today. I know we all learned a lot. And if you ever have need for a power door opener, think it would make your life easier, or if you live in a community and you think that they need to offer these to their residents, set them up with Kat and she'll see what she can do to help you guys out. So, well, thank you. Yeah, thanks so much. Everybody have a wonderful day. Don't forget, tomorrow, 2 p.m., we've got Are You Smarter Than a Celebration Kid? My little guy, Xander, will be in here answering 4th grade questions for you. And then we'll have Dan's son, Daniel. He will be our final round of questions. His are harder. He's a sophomore in high school. So he'll be joining us there. And then Thursday, we have WellMed coming in to talk about the importance of routine health maintenance. So, so I'll see everybody then. Kat, thank you once again. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Everyone,
Thank
enjoy.
you.